Sign up to The Athletic and read a sensible transfers piece about your team. Tottenham are in transition. Jose Mourinho has made them more resilient and has constructed a lethal counter-attack, but his side are flawed in possession and can still struggle to break teams down. And of course, it's not the ideal moment for team building either. The pandemic has prevented the club from capitalising on the financial advantages of their new stadium, and having had to take out a £175 million Bank of England loan to compensate for lost revenues, Daniel Levy won't be pushing his chips into the middle of the table anytime soon. But he still has to maintain a balance, and will be keen to keep Mourinho content, and despite significant improvements over the summer, the Portuguese can reasonably claim that areas of his side need further attention. The time is coming to find a successor to Hugo Lloris, and the centre of defence needs improving, but the priority is midfield, where the balance still isn't quite right. Ryan Gravenberch would be a luxury option. At 18, he's far from fully mature, but it won't be long before every major club in Europe is after him. To have a reasonable chance, Spurs would have to make a leap of faith before his price tag takes him out of reach. Levy does enjoy a strong relationship with Ajax and has negotiated with them before for Christian Eriksen and Jan Vertonghen. Gravenberch would be a coup. He can play as a 6, an 8 or a 10, which would make him more positionally dexterous than any of the other midfield options. And as almost a midpoint between the two, Gravenberch might be the ideal third man in a midfield of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg and Tanguy Ndombele. A trio of players who contrast stylistically, but who overlap in a few areas. In receiving the ball from defence, for instance, or passing the ball reliably and purposefully out of deeper zones. That kind of range seems key to Spurs improving their possession in the middle of the pitch and improving their attacking range, and might also allow Giovanni Lo Celso to be pushed further into attack. Gravenberch is also an elegant player, particularly when given licence to go forward. He's authoritative in stature, but soft and smooth with his touch, and he's capable of shooting with both finesse and power. He's certainly a mighty prospect, but could Tottenham afford him? Well, only Levy knows that, but they can't afford not to be interested. And should Harry Winks leave, possibly Dele Alli too, then the finances wouldn't be such an issue. However, should they want to look elsewhere, RB Salzburg's 20-year-old Mohamed Kamara is a bundle of different abilities. He mixes finesse and disguise in his passing with the intensity required by his side's high-octane defensive style. He'll most likely head for Germany and Leipzig, but he'll rightly have his other options. Hoffenheim's 24-year-old Diadie Samaseku is cut from the same cloth, having also come through at Salzburg. He's a very balanced midfielder, comfortable as either the deepest of a midfield three or in a double pivot. He's capable of line-breaking passes and carries too, and also helps to begin moves by dropping back to receive possession from the backline, which again would help Mourinho's Spurs become more diverse. Fiorentina are not having a good season, but we still like their towering, slightly spiderish Serbian, the 23-year-old Nikola Milenkovic. James Horncastle likes him too, describing him as being notoriously difficult to get past, as being at home on the right of a back three and consistently able to exploit his height in both boxes. Now, Tottenham operate a back four rather than a three, but Milenkovic certainly fits the physical profile of a Mourinho defender. Huge, hard to beat, and a little bit rough, with a set-piece threat as a bonus. Milenkovic is aggressive in his defending, tending to push up and out of the line to close down attackers. He has a surprisingly broad range of passing for a strong stopper-type defender, which, with Eric Dyer and Toby Alderweireld starting, and Joe Rodon signed in part for his ability on the ball, would seem to suit Mourinho's objectives. And in addition to Rodon, who joined over the summer and is happier as a left-sided centre-back, and Japhet Tanganga, who graduated into the first team last season, Tottenham may want to further future-proof their defence with Lens Loïc Bade, a graduate of the famed Le Havre Academy. He's a cultured player too, and carries the ball well while still being reassuringly rugged without it. He's also 6'3", and as well as being predictably good in the air, is a shoulder-to-shoulder type defender who uses his body well and is capable of overpowering attacking players without committing fouls. French football has fallen into financial crisis, and Bade will be a bargain for somebody. Now perhaps Spurs' most subtle need is behind the defence, where goalkeeper and captain Hugo Lloris has just turned 34. Lloris's form has been in gentle decline for a few years, with both his kicking and his willingness to leave his line at set pieces a source of concern. The latter particularly so now, given his side's propensity to drop deep when protecting leads. Now he does have understudies, but neither is a realistic long-term threat, so Lloris needs immediate competition and someone who can eventually take his place. Matvei Safonov fills that bill as probably the best young goalkeeper in Europe. And at just 21, he's already Krasnodar's first choice. Safonov's fundamentals are excellent. His handling is secure, and his long arms, strong wrists and reflexes make him a notable shot stopper. At 6'2", he's not the tallest for a goalkeeper, although he does have a few centimetres on Lloris. But he still manages to be imposing and authoritative in the way that other early developing goalkeepers often are. But it's unlikely that he'd settle for being second choice. And in any case, because of the financial cost, Russian players typically don't leave their home country so young. So, our other option is Chievo's Croatian under-21 international, Adrian Semper. At 6'4", he has the size to properly control his 6-yard box, and when facing shots, he has the footwork and reach to cover both sides of his goal and get to the corners. In addition to which, he seems strong down either side, but not obviously favouring either hand. He also has the same agent as several Leicester players, including Kasper Schmeichel, who too is reaching the end of his career. So while Samper only joined Chievo permanently in 2020, a Premier League future isn't unlikely. If you want to read a sensible transfers piece about your team, now you can. We've expanded the series across The Athletic, with dedicated journalists covering each Premier League team. And today you can sign up for £1 per week by visiting the link in the description. You'll get access to the full array of football coverage, plus in-depth coverage about teams across 10 other sports. Thank you for watching today's video.